I feel very privileged to have this opportunity to say something small about my friend James Ashui. I met James early 90s when we served together in the Pastoral Council, St. Paul's Catholic University Chapel. And from the word go, I saw him as a man I could trust, as a man I could, depend on. And I was not disappointed because when I got to know him later on, I realized he was a very, very dependable person, very, very kind, and a very generous person, but above all, very, very humble. I actually didn't know who James was. I just saw a nice person. And even at one stage, I used to think that James could have been a priest because I never saw his family. I saw him in church. Most of the time he was alone. And but later on I came to know that he was actually a married man and a very good husband and a good father. I remember one time, around that time when we were still together in St. Paul's, in 1996, my sister died suddenly, leaving 7 children. And I was very, very affected. And I thought the only way I could help my sister is to do fundraising for 2 children who had already done their O-levels and tried to get them to go to US for further education. So I started a harabe, and James is one of the people I asked for help. Those days, there were no mobile phones, and if you don't get whoever you want or from in the office, then it was difficult even to raise money. And even those who gave you money would give like 200, 500, and if they were very generous, they would give 1,000. I remember James calling me on a Friday afternoon and asking me, Rose, please send somebody to come and pick my donation. When I said somebody to go to James's office, he was given 5,000. This was the highest amount of donation or contribution I got from my friends. Those days, 5,000 was a lot of money. And I kept on wondering why. I don't know him. I didn't even know him that well. But after that, I moved to Garden Estate, and then we started the process of building a new church. The current Our Lady of the Rosary Church. We started this church at the current walkabout premises. James was one of the founder members of this church, and he worked very, very, very hard. He was the chairman for the development and fundraising committee, and he really did a lot of work, a lot of contribution, a lot of really a lot of initiative in the whole thing. And what was most remarkable, I was part of this committee, and I could see the leadership quality in James and the humility, because really we never got to know. Myself, I never got to know who James was until much later after he passed on. This time when he got sick, we were all touched when James sent over 2 million for this project while he was still in India in hospital. It was amazing, and we will ever, ever remember his contribution in this church. We are where we are because of his leadership, and also because of his contribution and the motivation he gave to people who are there. And even now, I'm glad to say that James's family still supports our church. Our current adoration chapel was furnished and done by the family. They gave a big, huge donation to take care of the adoration chapel. May God continue blessing my sister Anne, who has stepped in the shoes of James, and the family, the daughters who are always with us. Whenever we need them, whenever we have something, they are there. James' heritage will always be there. Legacy and his name will always be there for as long as the history of Our Lady of the Rosary is told. James's name will always be there, because what he did for our church, not many people have done. May the soul of our brother James Mungai Gashui rest in peace. Amen.